See,
mine has a nice
want Karen's one. Karen's one is beautiful.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Okay, let me click on yours. Look at that.
That is pretty. I like that.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
And then there's mine who has like a nice little dent up here, and there's like a dent down here.
I showed my students mine, and then they're like, "So is this supposed to be the king?" I was like, "I don't know. Is that supposed to be the lute, like the music?" I was like, "I don't know."
I think it's the king because he's got the little
And
the elf lock, right?
This is the bitch.
Is that supposed? Yeah, she's supposed.
That's the bitch. Okay. Oh man, when I got to the end, oh my god, I want to throttle her so badly.
All right, hey you guys, welcome back to Musetta Stone Book Club. This is our 12th hangout, and this was my pick this time. Sorry, I thought it was going to be a lot more smut in this. There's a little bit, but I was expecting like full-on sex, but it wasn't any. So that's fine. It's okay. Welcome back. It's warm on the island. It's getting warmer again. We've had some weird, like every week, for the last 4 weeks, we've had 1 day of rain for some reason. I don't know why. It's just like, and then like yesterday we had like a gigantic windstorm for no reason at all. And I was like, why? I just want it to be warm.
All of the seasons all at once.
I'm just waiting for snow at this point, just 1 day of snow randomly. Yeah. But hey, June is Friday. And that means that you two are getting close to finishing your year. Do you guys have like year-end concerts coming up?
Mine's on the 13th and 14th.
Okay, nice. And then Karen, you and I did a bunch of concerts already.
Yeah, we do have one more, but it's just the choir, and it's very straightforward, so it's not
a huge thing.
It's not big at all. I'm not worried.
Nice. It's awesome. But yeah, I mean, other than school, everyone's been well. Everyone's been healthy. Yes,
actually.
Oh, any summer plans?
I'm teaching summer school.
Oh, really? Ooh,
I'm the teacher librarian.
Okay.
So it's teaching-ish kind of. So I'm doing book exchanges, I think, and just like I'm basically working side by side with the teacher for research and stuff. So it's not going to be a huge thing, but it's kind of nice. It's 3 hours a day for 15 days. So I'm okay with that.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I'm excited.
You should come visit.
I will try. I am in summer school until I think the end of July. So August, I can probably sneak away for a few days.
Cool. Let me know. I'm off the last 2 weeks of August.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Karen, are you going to be on the mainland in the summertime?
Probably.
Okay. Well, you know what? What we can do is we'll figure it out. Yeah. So for example, if Karen's on the mainland, I'll just come visit you, and then we can go visit Karen. And if Karen's here, you come here.
I could. Yeah. Either one works for me.
We were supposed to hang out spring break, and it didn't work out. So.
I never no.
It'll happen at one point, yeah, and it'll be really, really fun. Like I've been trying to find reasons to go to the mainland. Like Philip and I don't have the same days off, so at this point it's just like I guess I'll just go to the mainland by myself.
And I'm the only one left on the mainland since Karen moved back.
Yeah. And Christy's gone this summer. Christy's on this summer, so I'm very excited.
Myself.
Hey, you know what? I'm still holding on to holding on to hope that once Mike gets like a desk job at Canada Post, he'll just find a posting here and he'll just magically love Victoria again, and then you'll move here.
And then Poon's like final plans are all in fruition.
Yeah, and then all of my best friends will be back on the island, and I'll never have to leave.
We live to serve Poon.
Hey, you know what? I worked really hard on Christy, and she finally caved. So yeah, but this book. First of all, I didn't know that it was historical fiction.
Oh, really?
No, I didn't do any research on that's what I normally do. I do research on it after I finish reading it. But
the costumes didn't clue you in on your cover.
Oh, no, like the
best historical novelist of her generation.
No, but the thing was like I was reading this and I didn't know that they were like actual characters and actual events.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So I was like, oh, these are real people. But then, because the thing is, I was reading through it, like, and they brought up like Tycho Brahe, which he was a philosopher. Like he had a bronze nose because he had it cut off. Yeah. And then like that tower that can like have a horse carriage go up. It's real. It's on one of my bucket lists to like actually go see.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I didn't know this, so I was pleasantly surprised. Also, I was pleasantly surprised that I don't normally. I guess I'll go through like what my feelings are first. I don't normally read these types of books in this period, but it was really fun. I thought it was really fun. So like I was really pleasantly surprised. This is like wow. so that's all I have to say for now. Karen, what are your thoughts? General feelings.
So I fell in love with this it doesn't really have chapters, but the sections, I fell in love with the very first section, and I basically read half of the book in a day because I was so immersed into it. There was something about this that just was like, I'm going to grab you and take you in. I love this. Those are my feelings.
All right, Amanda, what about you?
This was actually so up my alley because I really like Diana Gabaldon. Okay, the first 2 books. After that, it starts getting but this like whole like historical fiction, I actually am really interested, and it's actually better when I don't know it's historical fiction because sometimes you think history and you're like, oh, I'm so bored already. Right. But like Kron, I kind of like, as soon as it started, I'm like, whoa, what? They play in a cellar? And then that was it. I was like, yes, I have to read this. One of the best things I liked about this was because of all the stuff recently, I started reading this kind of at the end of when I had my musical, that I could read a bit, put it down, pick it up, and be like, I remember what happened. And I didn't have to go back and, from the last book we had and get confused. But no, this was great. I had so much fun with this.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had issues. Like for me, I needed to I had to read like a couple pages and then just put it down. Like I couldn't speed read through it. Like I said, just because it wasn't in the typical style, and also the language wasn't in the typical style of what I normally would read. So I needed I'll read a couple of pages, put it down for like 10 minutes, absorb what I was reading, go back oh yeah, that's what happened, and then keep on going. But I kept on going. I didn't read it as quick. But I thought it was I savored it. There was no character, even Kirsten, who I was like, in the end, she was kind of sort of redeemed. But even for Kirsten, I was interested in reading about her. No matter how much I didn't dislike her, I still wanted to read about her.
I will agree with that she was interesting to read about, but a lot of the interest was if I was alone in a room with her.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, let's move on to characters. My personal favorite character was Magdalena Ofingal.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I thought she was she was a woman that was dumped into a situation where she wanted her husband to find that passion for music, right? And then,
no, you're talking about the contest.
No, wrong name. What was her name?
Countess. The Countess.
Yeah, Countess.
I'm like, Magdalena, really?
Magdalena was interesting. She was very interesting. But no, sorry, different person. The Countess Ofingal.
Yes.
I thought she was really cool because I could I was for all the other like Peter Clare and all that, I was like, okay, whatever. Yeah. Drama. Here was a woman who was trying really hard to support her husband
and her kids,
even though her husband just blamed her for everything, and she still stuck by it. Right? She was still there, and even at the point where she finally consummates with Peter Clare, you're like, yes, slow clap, yes, you deserve this. You've been dealing with so much. And at the end, when she visits him, right? She's just like, I know the power I have over you.
Yeah.
And I know that my beauty is fading soon, but I know what you're trying to do, and it's not gonna work. And I was like, yes, this is a boss ass bitch. I can get behind you. You are amazing.
The letter that she wrote to the man saying that she was accepting his wedding proposal.
Yes.
I loved the way that she said, because it was like, no, she's saying no. No, she's saying yes.
Yeah.
Right? I must decline your proposal so that when I see you again, you must ask me again so that I can tell you yes in person.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
that was sweet.
Like for me, she was practical, right?
Yeah.
She knew that she needed someone to, so that she could take care of her family and, restart again. And she deserved another person, right? She deserved a husband that loved her, that would take care of her, right? But she was so savvy. She was so intelligent. She's so smart. It was just amazing.
She's the most likable of all characters
and also most relatable.
Yes. Yeah, the most relatable. Because you read about her and you're like, you know what? This is all of her things that she feels can be feelings that we have today. It's not like defined right into this historical chunk of time, but she doesn't have those. She's not whiny like everybody else. I found out like a lot of chunks. I'm like, man, he's just whining and whining and whining and whining. Or she.
Yeah.
She whines a lot.
Well, I mean, a lot of people did, right? Because I think, it's personal, it's literally journal entry, right? And you're just reading about how their feelings and stuff. Like half the time, I would hate on Amelia, but then I realized she's still a kid.
She is. Right? She's like, what, 19?
Yeah, and I was reading about this. First of all, she was thrown out of her house, right?
Yeah.
And
lost her mom.
Yeah, yeah. And then the way that she would write, I was like, considering she's young and she's dealt with a lot of trauma already.
Yeah,
it's not bad. She could be a lot more nasty.
Yeah. You know who I really actually liked by the end? Ellen, Kirsten's mom. I was like, you go with your plan. Yeah. You go. I was really excited.
Yeah.
No, that was the one storyline that I was the most confused with the training.
Kind of came out of nowhere.
Did they mention that they were training her for anything?
No.
Oh,
the entire thing.
Why is she trying not to eat things, and why is there dresses?
So I think she had told Kirsten that she had a ploy. She had a ploy to get back at her. And Kirsten was like, no, whatever you do, it doesn't matter. And the ploy was to get one of her ladies in waiting to take over her place, essentially. Yeah. But the thing was, I think yeah. That's why.
Because I was super confused by that whole thing until the end. But even then, I was still kind of I feel like, to me, that was the weakest storyline.
Yeah, because there was we knew that something was happening. There was a plot.
Yeah.
But there wasn't any information in her entries that talked about what the plot was. It was so secretive that there was nothing in the book until the end, right?
Well, there wasn't a lot in Ellen as an entries. It was always just Kirsten complaining about, well, my mother is planning against me and she has this now. But that actually, for me, I'm like, what is this? What is she planning? And then it kind of started to piece together a little bit. And then as soon as she's like, we're going to go visit the king. And, here's Vika. And I'm like, I get it. But that's from just reading far too many of these type of novels Yeah.
I mean, obviously we probably all dislike the same character, but were there other characters that were for you guys? You know
what? I did not like Johan. I thought he was the stupidest, most cowardly man in so many ways. But that whole thing with dude, your wife is sleeping with your sons. Come on, throw her out, find somebody else. But no, you sent your son. Come on. I didn't like him. I always thought he was kind of dumb, and he just was so ruled by her. But I guess it's the lust, right? Because he always talked about how much he loved her gigantic ass or whatever it was. I guess she was a big woman. I don't know. There's a lot of.
I imagined her very big.
Yeah, and her red stockings.
Yes. Well, red stockings, right? That's the symbolic.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
it was.
Sorry.
I didn't like him as well, but like, I understood how he got into that situation, right? And how it was so hard for him to get out of it. Like the only way he got out of it wasn't even sending away the boys. It was when Amelia came back and Marcus came back and he realized how much he needed them.
Wanted them around, yeah.
Wanted them around, right? And it was just that like him reminding, like those two reminding him of like, oh, life was different, right? When Karen was still here, and like our family worked together. We loved each other, and we didn't have all this drama. And that was when he finally realized. So like there was like that kind of like, yeah, he was like a terrible person, but there was redemption, which was kind of cool.
What did you think of Queen Sophie?
Oh, the Dowager Queen?
Yeah, but was it the grandmother of the king?
I would like to know what her plans were for. You know what always bugged me? What did you do with that gold other than just hoard it and hide it? What was this?
Well, you do remember like they had mentioned like she was saying like at one point when women, like especially women of power, lose the interest of their man. Yeah. Sometimes what they do is they have to have control over something, and sometimes
I guess that's
right. And for her, right, it was collecting gold, and for Kirsten, right, it was having lovers and doing whatever she wanted, right, and that was her like kind of power, right, her power to do that. So the Dowager Queen's power was to hoard this gold and to keep it for herself, not even to use it, but just to be like, this is the power that I have.
Yeah.
What I can do for myself.
So there was that whole mention with Kirsten and the Queen about gold and this sort of like love for it that I just don't understand. Maybe because I've never held a brick of gold before, but they were like, oh yeah, I'll just sleep with my gold between my breasts and just like it. And I'm like, what is that? What? Why? Yeah. Rub it against my body. What?
That was their monetary thing, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like a teddy bear to them. We hug teddy bears. They hug bars of gold. I don't know.
Yeah. Is it what it represents, or is it actually warm to cozy up to?
I don't think it's warm. I mean, for Kirsten, it's greed, right?
Yeah.
She wants, because she was sent away, and then she's like, well, but you still have to provide for me. You still have to give me money. You still have to give me this. You still have to give me presents. Like, she's just greedy. Queen Sophie, I feel like she just had a touch of that.
Hoarding.
Pardon?
Hoarding.
Okay, hoarding, not just hoarding, but like she had a what's it called? Like a touch of dementia on there, because
where she ended up focusing on the one thing, and
she's so fixated, right?
Yeah, but I think like also like the idea was that like she like her husband's passed away. Her son has this crazy like she's not a queen. I can't remember what she called. But
she was queen, Dowager Queen.
Yeah. No, but Kirsten is not wasn't the first one.
Consort, isn't she?
Consort, yeah, the king's consort, right? So like she's taken him away, and the only purpose she has in life is to collect the gold, right? That gives her a drive to live, to continue to live, right? Is to
Kirsten?
No, talking about the Dowager Queen.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So for her, it was just like it's a purpose. It gives her a purpose in life, right? And you notice the change when Ellen moves in with the Dowager Queen, right? Because she's just like, oh, I've never had a friend.
Yeah.
A friend, and us older women need to take care of each other. Why don't you move in with me?
Oh my God, that reminds me of Downton Abbey.
Oh yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Oh, it reminds me of Downton Abbey when they're like, you can't get married to him because you have to be my friend. It's so good. If you have not seen it, you should watch Downton Abbey. It's so good. It's all on Netflix.
Oh, that's a good one to binge.
Yeah. Let's talk about the main two characters and like their wildly romantic like trip across like Europe and like their love for each other. Like so Peter, Claire, and Amelia, they first meet at the I can't remember the city's name.
Jutland?
Was it Fredericksburg?
Yeah, because they first met when Amelia came to the castle.
Yeah, right. And like at the very beginning, I was like, oh, okay, so like there's in the same place, but they work for like, you know, one works for the king, one works for the consort, and the consort is greedy, jealous, and like somehow they're going to like consummate their love underneath them and whatever. And then she gets sent away, and then he moves somewhere else, and he travels there, and he gets mugged, and then he gets, I was like, I wasn't expecting all the drama at the very end of this book with this love, this love story. It just happened out of nowhere. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was the, we're finally going to bring these two lovers together. Oh no, wait. Here's 5 million twists in the last 100 pages.
Right? It's like, oh, he was mugged. Turn the page. Oh, he's almost dying. Turn the page. Oh, he's at Kirsten's house. What?
And then like somehow like she decided that she had a conscience and be like, okay, you can go by.
Yes. What was that? I read that. I'm like, no. She could not have just let him go. There's something else. Like she poisoned him or something or whatever. And it was kind of, you know what? That was one of the frustrating things. Was on the back, it's like this huge thing. It's like it's going to be focused on Peter. And it's not really. I was way more interested in what the heck like Kirsten and Otto were doing the entire book. I'm like, oh, they have whips. Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe that's why I don't like the ending as much, is because it feels just like, oh, he can go. There you go. Bye. It's that she just sort of lets him go, and you're like, okay, well. Yeah,
because I mean, like even like honestly, like the bromance between like Christian and Bror was more interesting than Peter.
Yes.
Oh my God, bromance.
Right?
Oh, the bromance. Okay, seriously, did you ever think, I'm like, are they like star-crossed lovers in the wrong century? Actually, I'm like, oh, could they just be gay? This would be amazing if they would be so happy.
Well, that was the thing. The thing was like Bror was holding Christian back so much that the queen had to like smuggle him out and lie to him to get him out of the castle, right? So like obviously, like I think the idea is that they could have been more than just friends, but I think also like Christian saved Bronson, right? Like he believes that like because like he helped Bronson like conquer death.
Yeah.
That like that's how he elevated himself to become king, because he now has the divine right as a king, right? And Bror is his best friend. He can't write his name, but it's his best friend. Like
there's a lot of historical stuff where the people closest to the king, it's always the worry, because those are the people who influence the king. And so if you have a kid who can't even spell his name, that's going to indicate to whoever else, like, oh, the king can't choose his proper counsel.
Mm-hmm.
What things is he going to be told to do?
Yeah.
He's going to get distracted. He's going halfway across the country just for this friend. Like, it's an appearance thing, right?
Yeah.
That's like what the tragedy is that they might not be lovers. They might be actual true best friends. But because of the way they influence each other, they're just like, you know what, you're the king. We gotta separate this.
Yeah. It's like pulling two kids up. It's like class placements. They want to be friends, but they're not going to be. So I have that on my head because class placements is coming up in the next few weeks. So
yeah, it's like, just because you want to be together,
you should be.
You should be.
And you know what? Out of this whole book, you know what I actually was more interested in than Peter and Amelia's relationship was actually this tiny little relationship between George Middleton and
Charlotte
was like the sweetest like little romance, and it's out of nowhere. It's like, oh, Peter's a sister. 300 pages later, oh, she's engaged, and it's like the sweetest thing, like sitting at his bedside after surgery. And I sat there, I'm like, is George gonna die? Will Charlotte actually have a husband? Will they get married?
I liked that they get like they got a little randy for each other a few days before the wedding. They're like, whatever, we're gonna get married anyway.
Yeah. No, that was really like that was out of nowhere. Like, because at the very beginning of the book, like she's just kind of casually mentioned, right? She's there. She's just not as pretty as he is. She's just not as gorgeous as he is, right? If he was just she, then he would get all these women.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really cool, like in the sense that like she was always that kind of like she was always in her brother's shadow.
Yeah.
Right? So she would always like, I'll just, I guess I'll just stay home. Like I'll just take care of my parents and I'll stay home. And it was just so nice to to know that she now has a husband that will take care of her and really love her. And it was so, yeah, it was really cute.
And there's
it's that hopeful story, right? It's telling us that we don't have to be the brightest and the most talented. We could find the love on our own.
But there's a little scene in here, and I'm trying to remember where it was. I think when she just started being with George or something along those lines, she says, like, I've always been jealous of my brother's looks, but now that I'm with George, he looks at me that way. Oh, could I also be beautiful? Could I also be like this person worthy of love? And I'm like, yeah, Charlotte, you are. You're totally worthy.
Yeah, that was really
she's like one of those. She's just so innocent and like sweet. I actually really liked her.
Yeah, and there was like at the very end of it, while they were having their ceremony, right? I really want to know her name, the Countess of Fingal's name. What is her name?
Oh, it starts with a J.
But like any.
I feel like I wrote it down somewhere.
I did write it down somewhere.
Francesca.
Francesca, yeah, it starts with an F.
So like right at the wedding, the cool little thing, like how the worlds kind of came together. They were having the wedding, and her new husband was there at the wedding, right? And I was like, this is so cool. I mean,
whole world in 1639 or whatever.
I know, but still, like, I mean, like, he didn't have to be there, right? But I was like, oh, this is so cool. I like how like they're all kind of interconnected, and they are all interconnected. Yeah. Oh, what did you guys think about all the different types of musicians that were there? So it's interesting because like this is the what do you call it? The consortium of instruments, right? That we learned in Middle Ages, right? This is the Renaissance Orchestra, and like it was really interesting because it kind of brought me back to like it was like kind of like PTSD, back to history, music history again, right? But concert, like I was like looking at this and I was like, wow, this would be true, right? Different people, like for example, the Italians would be like they would be very, very well versed in one sort of instrument because that's what they're good at, right? Lute players were mostly English or French, right? And it was so cool to see like them coming together, and I was like, this is great because it combined my education, what I learned, and then put it into a story that I was like, oh, she did her homework. This is kind of cool.
Like the idea of bringing all these different people with all these different perspectives and upbringings and training, and they come together and then they make this beautiful music, which we have to imagine. We can't actually know what it sounds like, so we're assuming that they sounded great.
Yeah.
From what they talk about, they sounded great. So it must be a quality that would be wanted heavily, I would think, in most musical groups, because then you're able to bring the different perspectives to interpret different ways. It adds a depth to music.
And the different folk stuff, like because Peter was called away, he's like, play me an English air, play me they'll go somewhere else and play me an Italian sonata, and they just pulled them out. They're like, oh, okay, so this is all the different parts of Europe, which was really cool. What did you guys think of this whole cellar thing? I thought that was
well, I mean, it's what's true, like it's absolutely true.
But it's well, being in the 21st century, it's weird to think that you would just stick a group of people in a basement and be like, you're gonna play and let the music go up.
Well, I mean, essentially, like he was before his time. This is essentially surround sound, creating live surround sound for his like dinner party, right? Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, like I like that's the thing. The thing, like even now, right? Musicians are like it's just entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Like you hire them for weddings and stuff because it's entertainment. Right? You hire them to play in a mall because it's entertainment, right? So this was a different form of entertainment, right? And albeit it sucked, but I mean, we've all been in positions where we're like, oh, this piano only has 54 keys, you know, or like, wow, this room is too warm for my saxophone. I'm gonna be flat the entire time, right? Like we've been in those situations.
Saxophone.
Yeah, like, but we've been in situations like, you know, and it's cool to see that it just hasn't changed. I mean, it sucks that it hasn't changed, but like musicians have had to deal with those situations back then, and we still have to deal with it now.
Yep.
But like, it was just like, the idea was like, you know, the king was like, man, this is a great idea, right? And it's going to wow people, and I just need musicians to play in a cellar.
But I like that when he moved out of his castle to after Kirsten left.
Yep.
When he moved and he's like, oh, I guess you guys can play in the garden now. And the musicians are like, thank you, God, fresh air. Like, that's not winter.
Yeah. I felt like that scene was like very Deus Ex Machina, because like the Italians were like, we're gonna leave, and then the king goes, okay, you can play out in like the fresh air now in my old castle, and they're like, yay, we're not gonna leave.
But when I go back, you have to go back to the cellar.
Yeah. I agree with Karen. Like, I would love to have heard what that group sounded like.
Yeah.
Because they were like, even Peter Clare was the best lutenist of his time, right? And even when he was playing with them, he was like, this is the best orchestra by far. These guys are amazing, right? And I was like, oh man, what I wouldn't get to be able to hear kind of what sound they're making. And it was tragic that these great musicians were playing in a cellar.
Yeah.
Right.
But sorry, I was gonna say, it's also one of those things, like, a lutenist is not, you know, one of those instruments that nowadays that we would consider as not one of the first instruments that come into our head, right? Like, you think of a solo instrument, you know, guitarist, the drummer, all those rock groups and pop groups and stuff. So you think of Lucian, like, man, he was like the man back in that day. He was like, you know, I can't even think of names. I'm so tired right now.
No, it's okay. But the instrument was great because, like, you know, he could play and sing, right? Whereas like, if you were playing the sackbut, you couldn't do that. Or the crumble horn, right? You couldn't do that. Yeah.
That was a favorite term in history, actually, was the sackbut.
Sackbut.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it was, you know, he was a troubadour.
Yeah.
Right? Essentially, right? And I like, that's what got me. I was like, this is great. This is so music nerdy. I love this so much.
But it's not overly. It doesn't throw it in your face. Like, this is also one of those books where if you had no musical training, you could read it and get it and enjoy it and totally immerse yourself into it. But the fact that we all have like music history and all that kind of stuff kind of gave it like a deeper level of appreciation, I feel. That is more than just like the surface like, because she's reading these terms and she went into when the violins were like, this isn't good for my instrument because it's too cold. And I'm like, yes, it is too cold. The strings, think of the strings. Like, well, that's just me.
Yeah. No, I was pleasantly surprised. Like I said, first of all, I thought it was going to be like a romance novel. So I was like, all right, there's not going to be a lot of depth. Number two.
So it was romantic in the literary sense. Maybe.
Yeah, not your type of romantic.
No, but it's okay, because like, I was like, when I picked it, I was worried that music wasn't going to be a very central theme to this book. And I felt like it was just enough.
Yeah.
Just enough where it wasn't overbearing, right?
Yeah.
Because you still had to, like, for example, at one point, like Peter Clare, that weird part where like Marcus like spoke to like the worm in his ear and it came out. Do you remember that part? That was weird.
The earwig.
I don't know why. It was like out of nowhere. I was like, oh look, magic.
But Marcus is like a really odd, like I never when it started going into chunks of when Marcus, like from the Diary of Marcus, I'm like, what is this kid on?
Well, no, I think he was emotionally scarred, right? And because of that, like he was just not normal, right? But like I think my problem with that whole scene was, I mean, I like the whole like his ear hurting and stuff, I felt so bad for him. But like the fact that Marcus, because he was surrounded by these paintings of bugs, all of a sudden he could talk to insects, and that just came out of nowhere. Like the whole like, okay, like
the insert magical realism didn't really have a place in this historical book.
Yeah, because like there are parts where like Amelia was like, she hears Karen, she hears her mother talking to her, but I was like, that's fine because it could all be in her head. It could all be just imagined. Like, but like, that scene where he talks into his ear and like the worm crawls out, and I was like, yeah, why was this even
so random? It's so random.
What it is, right? It's the so he's talking to the bugs that are in the pictures and on the mural. Okay, that's fine because that could be in his head. But as soon as it has real world consequences, you go, no.
That was probably the strangest part of the entire book was that. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna flip through this. Whoa.
Like it's just weird because like so he talks to this like insect that's in his ear and it wriggles out. But before that, there was a healer who poured like hot wax into his ear.
Yeah.
And that the insect didn't die. I was like, okay. So like there was hot oil and like they were like doing all that stuff and it didn't die because of the heat, but it died because a child spoke to it to leave the ear.
It didn't die. I think he took it and like put it in a corner or something. Or like
maybe, but it just I don't know. That was like probably like the one part I was like, okay, this didn't need to happen. It would have been fine if he was just deaf.
He just left it.
Yeah.
There didn't even have to be a thing in the ear.
Yeah.
He could maybe he burst an eardrum. That happened.
Yeah. Ear infection. Done. Okay.
Yeah. No, it has to be an earwig.
The bug inside, I had to Google. I was like, why would my ears be ringing? I didn't even want to wait to read the book. I actually looked up, why would my ear make these popping sounds and stuff like that? And then all the suggestions were like, a bug in the ear. And I'm like, ooh. And that's what it was. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Dr. Google.
There are definitely times like there are like videos, but like in Southeast Asia, like like there are spiders.
Yeah.
Into your ear hole.
And they go to sleep they go to sleep with cotton in, so they can still hear and keep things out.
Yeah. It happens, but it just you're right. Like that entire thing could have just been like nipped out, and it would have been totally fine because it didn't affect the storyline at all, right?
It's really
Oh yeah, it was just so weird.
Yeah.
So many.
Really weird.
There are some like sometimes you like as I was going through, there are just certain moments I'm like, that is just why would that be? And it's like, and that was one of them where I read it. I'm like, well, all right, if you want to go there, sure. Doesn't make sense, but all right.
Because I mean, the only other time that there was quote unquote like some type of like supernatural power was that time where Brorson was about to die and Christian comes in and demands death leave, right? But the thing was, it could have just been the fact that he broke his cold. He broke the fever and it was fine, right?
Yeah.
So like, I didn't see that scene as magic. So I didn't have like this, there's magic.
I saw it more as this historical interpretation of why somebody's sickness would suddenly leave. Because really, truly, sometimes they didn't know why some people would survive things and other people wouldn't. So they're sort of just guessing like, oh, well, the devil, and they were super strong and whatever. And you're like, okay, I spelled his name for him.
Beautiful calligraphy. The most beautiful calligraphy.
It's so beautiful. The devil can't even take it. What?
But he was also 10 years old at the time, right? So
that's true.
Exactly. Wow. How many 10-year-olds do you know that can spell really well?
In calligraphy.
Yeah, in calligraphy.
Well, not anymore, but I'm sure if you ask a 10-year-old now, they could give you the best 144 characters in Twitter.
You know what? A challenge accepted. If and when I have children, I'm going to teach them like 14th century calligraphy before they're 10.
Mom, why are we learning Mandarin and Cantonese and calligraphy? And, it's just like...
and English. You will work at the UN nations. You will.
Them all.
But yeah,
we haven't talked about Kirsten yet.
No, I was going to steer the conversation towards Kirsten.
Oh, Kirsten.
All of the stuff. Like I didn't read much on the history of her character or herself, but in this book, there was almost nothing to redeem her.
Wow. Except for that one moment at the end when she let Peter go. Or yeah.
But even then she was just like, hey, you know what? If you want to believe in love, you're a dumbass.
Before it was explained fully, it said that she had 12 children, and I was like, well, no shit, she wants stuff. She popped out 12 people.
Yeah.
And you start doing the math, and you're like, in like 10 years, how does that even? And then it's like, oh no, 6 of those kids were another people. Still, it's 6 humans out of you. No wonder she's. But the problem is she's not very motherly. She's just not.
Well, I mean, the father isn't either, because the entire book you don't meet any of the kids.
Yeah, no, they mention them.
In passing.
They're there.
Sorry, who did something, and now I'm looking up information on Kirsten.
Well,
she was on December 31st, 1615. She was married morganatically. I don't even know what that means. To the widowed king, but not within a church. She was given the title Countess of
something.
Schleswig-Holstein. She was a countess. Yeah, she bore him 12 kids.
She did?
Yeah, she did. It says, well, okay, this is Wikipedia, by the way.
No, but like...
she had 1 stillborn, and almost all of them are actually like grew up. But she had 10, because the first one was a stillborn, and the last one was the Otto's kid. Yeah. So she had 10. Gross.
Okay. So here's the things that you kind of have to keep in mind, right? She was married to the king. She wanted to be up in status, right? Like her mom and her were ambitious, but at the same time, she basically kind of became just the king's
consort,
sex person.
Oh.
And he would, they even said he would come in and he would just like fondle her.
And then leave, yeah.
And then leave. So like, how is that? I mean, I kind of understand a little bit of where she's coming from, where she needed real love, but she wasn't willing to give it. Like she was needing something.
I wouldn't say she wanted love. I wouldn't even say that she wanted love. I just think she wanted to be kept, right? She just wanted to have her trinkets, have her toys, have her money, give an allowance. Like she didn't really care, because she was like, I don't want you to touch me.
Well, but that was like at the time when we started reading, right? Because like,
yeah, that's true.
We were talking about it, like even when she was talking about like when they first started seeing each other, it was great, right? But then the children.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and the fact that like no one took her seriously because she wasn't the real queen. And she talks about that. She talks about how she's queen only in quote unquote title, but she has no power, and no one respects her because everyone sees her as a whore. Yeah. Right. And because like I think because the first queen is still alive, right? At the time, she was just sent away. Was it?
I believe so. No, she died.
Okay, but
the first queen died.
Yeah, but no one respected her, and her reaction was, "Well, you don't respect me, but I have so much power over Christian that I can do whatever I want, and you can't do anything about it." So we started reading about her when she started pushing the boundaries and pushing, right? Yeah. Because she got to the point where she's just like, I can never have what I want. Yeah. Therefore, I'm just going to take what I can get.
It was sort of tragic on the part of Christian where he finally realizes that she's not really the person that he thought. And, she even describes it at the beginning where he called her, what was it?
Mousy?
Mousy. He calls her Mousy. But he only called her Mousy when she was young, and now she's not young. And now it's just weird that she's a grown woman and he's still calling her by the name. And then when she was really young, and you kind of just go, okay, yeah, I can see that. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be endearing. Like, come on.
It's not.
But for her, it's wearing.
Yeah.
Sick of it. She just doesn't want any more of it.
No, but it was that little nickname was also her little, it worked in her favor, right? Because she's like, oh, I'm your little Mousy. Can I please have whatever?
African boys.
Like, oh, yeah. Right? It was just, she was just playing her on. Sorry. It says in here that after the king died, Kirsten and her children had Vika banished from the court, and she had her marriage and her children confirmed as legitimate, although morganic, heirs.
Mm.
Huh.
That's like after the book ends, right? But just, sorry, I was like, you know what? If these are real people, I gotta look up what they actually have with these people.
Yeah, well, because Kirsten's story ends up. She's got. I like these types of endings. Don't get me wrong. I like when things are left very open. This is very open, and you'd kind of just go, huh?
Yeah.
And okay, we're told that Peter Clare is the main character.
Not really.
No.
Absolutely not. It ends with Kirsten.
Yeah.
Which we could have had the neat little bow with Peter Clare, no problem. But then there's this extra little bit with her, and it's like, and then she has her 2 sex slaves with her 2 little black slave boys. Like, oh.
Yeah. You know, and it's kind of funny because, like, you read, like I said, you read the back of this and you assume that Peter is that main, like, you just follow Peter around wherever he goes. I wasn't that interested in the stuff that Peter wanted.
No.
Throughout the book, I'm like, man, Kirsten is.
He was more of an excuse to just.
Yeah.
He was
around Peter.
Yeah.
Everything else was way more interesting than.
Who was the male actor in the new? What was that? I can't remember. Okay, I'm gonna look this up. Give me a second.
In the Freddie Mercury movie?
No, and the new Mad Max movie.
Oh.
Because it's Charlize Theron.
I see what you mean, though. But like the Mad Max wasn't actually about Mad Max.
Yeah.
It was about Furiosa.
Oh.
Furiosa. So he was the point of view character, but she was the main character, right? So like I think he was there to allow us to read more about the consort in the instruments. Mm-hmm. And to read more about all the characters that surrounded him. So he was the center, but he wasn't the main character. Mm-hmm. It was everything around him that was more interesting. Christian's life and Kirsten's life was so interesting.
Yeah.
Halfway through, in the middle of the book, there's no Peter at all.
Right? Everything was about this ploy, the Ellen's ploy, especially after Kirsten gets sent back to Bowler. Mm-hmm. Everything is about it. I'm like, this is interesting. I'm actually way more interested in this.
It's the whole Marcus, right? And then Kirsten and Amelia, and then Ellen and Rebecca, right? And all that whole thing, and that was really interesting. And then she throws in Charlotte's story. I was like, oh, this is great. All the stuff in the middle is great. And then Peter comes back. I was like, oh, right, you're still here.
All right, yeah.
Right, you still love her, even though she hasn't sent you anything back.
And she's kind of a jerk. And
the thing was, if he didn't come and find her, she would have been dead. She would have killed herself, right? So
that's true.
So that was neatly all tied up with a nice little bow, and stuff like that. But yeah.
Oh.
You found some more tidbits?
No. So I looked up a bunch of stuff, and if you look up the King Christian. This is not his. This isn't him.
It is his actual portrait.
No. This is actually Kirsten. If you look up Kirsten Munk, M-U-N-K, this is the picture that comes up. If you look up King Kirsten, you don't see this picture. Oh. But it came up when I looked up Peter Clare. But when I look up Peter Clare, this is the book cover that comes up. I'm trying to find a picture of actual Peter Clare.
Well, I think that is Christian because Karen was saying he has the elf lock.
Oh.
He does, but I can't find this. Denmark. So the picture that, I guess it could be him.
Yeah.
That better not be Otto, okay? This better not be Otto.
Otto van Rheingold? Or what's his name? Otto van, what's his name?
Rheingold? You mean from Wagner?
Otto van Rheingold. That's exactly his name. Okay, wait, I have to look up Otto now. Let me see if I can find him and see if I can find a picture of him. That would be funny. I'm trying to find his name. Okay, go and talk for a sec. I gotta. Oh, there he is. Otto. Oh, it's because the Rhinegrave. Otto Ludwig of Selmkirchberg. I can't pronounce it. I'm butchering all these names.
It's okay. It's all right. It's okay.
Apparently Otto was bald-ish.
Oh, okay, never mind. That's it. I'm assuming that it is Christian because of that elf lock, because he played with it a lot.
I mean, okay, so if you look at the photo,
Oh, yes.
he's got way more, like he's got a reddish sort of hair.
Yeah, no, I guess that is.
But I mean, like,
it's just funny when you look up Kirsten and this is the picture that pops up, not on Wikipedia, but on an actual like historical some kind of site. That's the picture that pops up of Kirsten Monk.
Okay.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
But it's probably the two of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, hey, by the way, is also another indication that Peter, Claire, and Amelia's relationship is not really important. If they didn't even make it onto like the main book cover, right? I mean, he is on Karen's book cover, but
yeah, not on ours.
Here, he's hanging out in the door.
All mysterious, like.
What was the chicken's name?
The chickens were kept in the cellar.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Oh my gosh.
But they're never allowed to see the light because they lay eggs better? I don't know.
Yeah, sunlight was they did something to the eggs. They like made them go rotten faster or something like that. I don't know. They're whatever beliefs you want. Whatever beliefs you want.
Or
all right. Anyways, I think our discussion of this book is over. But I'm glad that everyone liked it, and I'm glad that I actually liked it. This was fun. I will give kind of like books in this genre more tries. This was really fun. I mean, like, he won an award, so I mean, obviously, I was like reading it, I was like, oh, okay, this must be good. This must not be smut then.
I think I'm gonna look up some more stuff from her.
Yeah, me too.
Like, she has a few books. She has one book for children. And then everything else, not so much. But I'm interested to see what else she read. Like I was actually surprised how much I like this.
Yeah, actually, I was very, very surprised as well because I find historical can be hit and miss. Yeah,
that is true. But now that we know that she does write historical fiction, and I think Karen pointed this out on our books where it says the best thing from Denmark since Hamlet is on the cover. It's a glowing ring.
But is it because that Hamlet's setting is in Denmark?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, wait a second. Hamlet's England.
Yeah. I think
by the author, are we going by setting?
But here's the thing. That's the thing. The problem with this quote is that if you have to do that much deep diving, it's a bad quote.
Yeah, it's true. But
mine has lyrical, voluptuous, and splendid.
That's all it says?
So we have that in the back as well by Lucy Hughes Hallett from the Sunday Times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, voluptuous. There is a lot of sex, like, enough sex that I was like, oh. Ooh.
I mean, you got your satisfied, but this was okay. Sometimes literary sex can be really terrible because they're trying to be hyper realistic and then it's just bad. But this was actually romantic without being explicit, and I really enjoyed that.
This wasn't like Nora Roberts sex.
Yeah. You know what? I think what I'll do is I'll read more books in this genre, and then I'll realize that those books don't know how to write sex very well, and then I'll appreciate this book better.
Yeah.
Our next book will be 50.
Probably try Henry VIII and his wives. Anything with Boleyn, because
that's true. If you really want something, honestly, the first book of Outlander is pretty smutty. Once she meets,
it takes a while.
It takes about 300 pages in.
They were spanking too, right?
Each one of their books is like 800 pages. It's like, it's ridiculous, but it is historical fiction. The events are accurate. The whole time travel thing, not so much. But that first book, once you hit about halfway point, there's a lot of sex in it. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, they're newly married and they're hot for each other. Wouldn't you be?
Yeah, they're forced to marry each other.
All right. Next time's pick is Amanda's. Amanda, would you like to show the cover?
Sure. Okay. So for some reason, I bought both of these at the same time, the piano bank or the piano shop. And then I got this one, which is called A Devil to Play. One man's year-long quest to master the orchestra's most difficult instrument. It was recommended to me by Goodreads, actually, and I found it really interesting. So it says, in the days before his 40th birthday, London-based journalist Jasper Rees traded his pen for a French horn that had been gathering dust in his attic for more than 22 years, and on a lark, played it at the annual festival of the British Horn Society. Despite in his embarrassingly poor performance, the experience inspired him to embark on a daunting, bizarre, and ultimately winning journey to return to the festival in 1 year's time and play a Mozart concerto, a solo, to a large paying audience. So it's about his midlife crisis and how instead of buying a sports car, he decided to pick up a French horn and learn it in a year.
That's really interesting. This is going to be a fun read too.
And there is a picture of him on, I believe this is him on the back.
Yes.
There. So I think Karen already has a copy of this. It's on eBay, or not eBay, Amazon.
Yeah, I'm going to go look up and buy one right now. Just in case I forget.
So our next meeting then would be end of July, maybe?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it depends on you guys. Like, we could do end of July or just end of August.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Oh, if we could do
end of August, then we're all together.
Yeah, I was gonna say, then we could do it all in one place.
Yep. And then it'll give me more time to like wait for the book to get here. We'll see.
I think it's fulfilled by Amazon, so I might get there quick. But yeah.
Who's the author's name?
This is by Jasper Rees.
Is it spelled R-E-E-S-E?
No E at the end. R-E-E-S.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I would just like to say I love the whole aesthetic of this book.
Right?
Just
you love this
cover. It reminds me of the cartoon version, the Yellow Submarine by the Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Python little sketches.
Yeah.
I was like, why does this remind me of something? Yes, you're right. You're totally right.
Makes so much sense. Yeah.
That sort of 70s, late 60s sort of kitschy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're mixing.
I will say that I feel like this is going to be a reread for me.
It'll be a reread.
This is going to be a reread. I'm going to reread this, and I'm going to laugh again at all the
all of the terrible.
All of the terrible.
Good.
Like we said before, right? If it wasn't for this book club,
Charlotte. Yes,
if it wasn't for this book club, a lot of these books we wouldn't be reading anyways, right? So it's great.
So thank you, Poon, for this one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was not what I was expecting, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, like I said, this is one of the few books so far that we all agreed we really liked. So
yeah, some have come close, but
yeah, it's past 8. I need to let you guys go, and I need to get some stuff done around the house anyway. So thank you guys so much for watching. This was a great book. Next time, we'll let you guys know next time whatever time we decide. Hopefully, it'll be like, when all 3 of us are all in the same room. That would be kind of fun. But
that would be fun.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. We'll see you guys next time here. Bye.
See ya.